Vince V is a bloody legend, and to be a bloody legend you gotta look like one. So in order for me to complete this video today, I need to change up my looks. So I've got my flanny on, I've got to get my apron as well as my glasses to really emulate Vince V and everything he does. Now I'm all dressed and ready to get my Vince on. Today is all about gold, and I thought, what better way than to emulate one of the masters himself? To get the base tone of the gold, what I did is I mixed together Retributor Armour from Games Workshop and Oro Gold from Vallejjo. It was more Oro Gold than it was Retributor Armour because I really wanted that super bright gold that Vince used in his tutorial. After that, because this model is so intricately detailed, I just gave it an all-over wash of Agrax Earthshade. Now, in Vince's tutorial, he said that you can do this, but it then creates sort of an unachievable tone across the rest of the model. I thought I'd be okay with this because I'll be re-highlighting up the raised areas anyway. Base tone of our armour established, now it's time to start painting in those shadows. In Vince's tutorial he used Rhinox hide. I don't have Rhinox hide, so as an alternative I'm using oxide brown medium from Kimera. Now if you don't have any Kimera paints, you could just use Rhinox hide, it's a perfect substitute for this paint, or you could use any other rich brown that you would have in your collection. As the masterful Vince V had done in his tutorial, he watered down his paint just past a layer. So it wasn't quite a glaze, but it was definitely thinner than a layer paint to paint in all of the shadows across his miniature. Now, this is a bit of a tricky step, especially if you're starting to see that the paint is turning into a little bit more of a wash. I would say that if that's the case, your paint needs to be a little bit thicker. It's always better to just work it a little bit thicker on your model than it is too thin, because you'll spend way too much time building up all those layers, and you can always come back with metallics after. Now our shadows have been established, it's time to start bringing back in those highlights. And to get those highlights, what I did is I mixed up my base tone gold on my wet palette. Then I mixed in a bit of oxide brown from Kimera. After that, I started to apply it to the model, making sure that I was only going onto the edges of where I'd applied my shadows. So I'm not going directly in the middle of my shadow, I'm going to the left edge and to the right edge. Keep in mind that you want this paint to be, again, thinner than a layer, but not quite a glaze, because I'm not working with such high quality pigments or such high quality metallic pigments that you can actually start seeing them if you water them down too much. So make sure you're not watering down your metallics into a glaze, because otherwise you're just turning it into sparkly water. Alright, with that step out of the way, we've integrated our shadows a bit more smoothly all over our model. Next up is I'm going to add in a bit more Oro Gold into our original mix of Retributor Armour and Oro Gold, and I'm going to use this to then start highlighting some of the high points across the model. keep in mind that you don't want this absolutely everywhere, and we're trying to work in smaller areas, probably towards the tops of surfaces and not necessarily at the bottom. After that, we're going to be coming in with our first true highlight, and what we're going to do is mix in some speed metal from scale 75. If you don't have speed metal, it just needs to be a bright silver that you can mix into your previous highlight to start going around the edges of your miniature. And for our final last highlight, we're going to go with straight speed metal on those very edges over the entire armor of this model. Now this will take a really long time, especially if you're painting a Custodes model like I am. It took me a really long time to get over, I would say about 80% of the edges, because I just couldn't be bothered getting them all. There's just too many, I couldn't be bothered. You're not going to see half of it anyway. So I thought, hell with it, I'll just get the ones that are the most prominent. And with that done and out of the way, our Custodes model is looking fully shaded and is completely highlighted as well. Now, if you haven't heard of Vince V before, you should probably go and give him a look on YouTube as well as Instagram. The dude is an absolute painting legend. He's won multiple Golden Demons, multiple other awards. His tutorials are fantastic on YouTube, so you should really go and give him a watch. Oh, and don't forget to give me a like or a comment down below what you think of my paint job, or follow, subscribe, all those good things. Do all the things. Please, do all the things.